Hey BL, happy August. Hi AL. I've got AL, I've got BL on this. We have a CL coming on. Give it a couple minutes before we get started. Good morning, Val. Hi Kelvin. Hope you're all well. Anyone traded the Aussie dollar RBA rate decision? I'm super glad I closed out my yen. I was sharing with you guys in the Discord channel. Very happy I closed out my yen pair, yen US yen trade. It's still going. The last I saw it had a big spike down. Then I was preparing something else. Alright, I saw it drop, so I was very happy I closed out. Might still continue going up, but we'll have a look at it whether it's going to continue and break above 143, maybe towards 145. Yeah, I like closing out the trade before the stream. If not, I'll be talking to you guys and thinking, switch over and close out the trade, or get distracted on what to do. So we are streaming on YouTube, we are streaming on trading.live and also on TradingView. If you are on the session, whichever platform you're on, do drop a message, say hi, let me know you're here. Love to see who's online. And also, put into the chat as well on whichever platform if you have any suggestions on any other platforms I should be streaming on. Let me know. You can't close, if you close in profit, you can't go broke. That is right, but you do need to have a reason why you close out. You don't want to be closing out too quickly, too early. Then what could happen sometimes is that you end up having small profits, good small profits, but then one big loss could wipe it out. Right? So you do want to also make sure that when you close out a trade, not only because it's in profit, you want to close it out because there are reasons of why you're going to close out, whether it's a technical reason or there is a news coming out, or just a reason like not being able to watch and monitor the trade. Make sure you have a reason why you're closing out a trade. But yeah, I do know that a lot of you close out at 20 pips. 20 pips consistently, very good trade approach. And it's also about scaling up trade sizing. Hey, 1453. Good to see you online. Give it a minute more before we get started. Happy August, everyone. It is the 1st of August. Wishing everyone a very profitable, very steady and profitable trading month ahead. Alrighty, let's get started. Again, big welcome and thank you for joining me on this daily market analysis, which I've been doing many months now over the last, many months. 3 p.m. GMT plus 8 almost every day. If you are new to the session, you know the drill. Drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining me from. Love to find out. And for all the regulars, big welcome back. Thank you for joining me. With that, let's jump straight into it. A quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence because the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs is not being considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. At any point in time, if you have a particular pair that you like me to look at, currency pair, commodity, sometimes equities, or index that you'd like me to look at, put it into the chat. Let me know. I'll be happy to address your questions. If you did get into any trades, whether it's making money or losing money, and you'd like to share about that, put into the chat. I'll give you my views of the trade setup as well. Okay. And also, if you can, big massive help, click that like, click that subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, TradingView, or on trading.live. Put it into, click that. Let's see whether we can get more people onto the stream. Okay. The link again is there. If you haven't joined already for the Discord channel, we can always take our discussions beyond this daily analysis session into more regular updates, sharing with you where I'm entering a trade, where I'm getting out of a trade, the reasons and the views of or the thought process behind my trade setups, right? So with that, just want to quickly share with you about the Discord channel. So this was what we're looking at from last night, right? Where was it? Someone was asking, so I got in at 142.35 this morning. When I moved it to break even, I was looking for it for the US yen to run to the upside. Then when I closed out at that point, right? Closed out at that, now closing the trade as I thought that climb was starting to slow down. Then also updates on the Aussie dollar as it broke out the Bollinger Band, looking for continuation to the downside. And also updates on the news, right? That it was held at 2.1%, no rate hike from the RBA this time around. So do make sure if you need help, if you want to find out more, trading does not have to be something that you approach alone. The community is there. We have a lot of people talking and sharing their views of the markets of different currency pairs. You can share your trade ideas in here. It's all there. Sharing how, thought process between how to enter a trade. I think scrolling up, Mo was asking about my strategy, when to get into a trade. So it's all there. Make sure you join. I'm targeting 400 members. We're at 370 right now. So if you can get me to 400, for everyone who's watching right now, do make sure you jump in. Okay? That away. Good morning, Milan 1202. Hey, Angel Case, how are you doing? Hey, Demon Hands, happy August. Good morning, how are you doing? Hey, Kwabi, good morning. AYJ. Okay, so with that, now yesterday. Right, yesterday we did not have a lot of news after our session. Only thing was the core CPI flash estimates for the Eurozone was a 5.4%, got revised upwards to a 5.5, and then it stayed at a 5.5. Okay, again, that brought a little bit of fluctuations on the euro, but as I was sharing in the Discord channel, we're looking for it to still continue to hit to the downside, and also shared that during the stream yesterday as well. Okay, so nothing much to update there apart from what I'm super proud of was the dollar index, right? I saw this, I was saying that it's going to come down, test the support at 101.60. If it holds, look to test and break 102. So it did come down, test the support, bounce back up. So I was saying up, down, and then up again. So it's down, and then up again. So it's breaking above 102. I love it when it moves pretty much as planned. Okay, so I'll update you further about what we think could happen on the dollar index, whether it's going to get to that 102.55 level. With that, looking at today, this was a small surprise, not a huge surprise, a small surprise here that the RBA, despite market expectations of a 25 basis point rate hike, the RBA held interest rates at 4.1%. We were considering this, we were thinking that, okay, market expectation is 25 basis point rate hike, but we were also saying that inflation or CPI or inflation growth in Australia has been slowing down. Further rate hikes would cause more pain to Australian households. So as much as we were anticipating a 25 basis point rate hike, we were not ruling out that hold at 4.1%. So that's why I say it wasn't a big surprise, but still not working according to, or not doing what the general market expectations was for a 25 basis point rate hike. Because of this, holding at 4.1%, what we actually saw on the Aussie dollar, take that away, was on the release of the news, we saw a small spike and then overall trading to the downside. So this is also where it came in important, where I was sharing, right at that point, at that candle there at 1 o'clock, we were looking for this pushing down. It was slightly outside Bollinger Band. That's where I indicated that although it's outside, although it came back in, we were still looking for that continuation to the downside on the Aussie dollar. So far, it has dropped since the news. About 40 pips, right? Since the news has dropped about 40 pips. If you were on the, I can't see my, there we go. If you were on the Discord channel at that point, even you would have caught a good 20 pips to the downside, understanding that we're still looking for that downward, a continuation of the downside. All right, so that was the news for the RBA cash rate decision holding at a 4.1%. Looking at the rate statement. Yep. Hey Lydia, how are you doing? We can do pound yen, we can do euro yen. I'll get to that. Hey Junior, good afternoon. How are you doing? Okay, so looking at that, you can see that decided to leave the cash rate at 4.1%. Interest rate, no, not that one. Inflation is declining, but still too high at 6%. So, bear this in mind. As much as declining, it's still at 6%. The target is 2 to 3%. So I'm still not ruling out further rate increases, maybe next month, maybe the month after that. Still that possibility there. Labor market conditions very tight, a little bit. Returning inflation to target range, remains high priority, right? And this was what we're talking about, hurting household budgets, right? Inflation hurts household budgets together with higher interest rates. So further tightening of monetary policy may be required to ensure that inflation returns to a target in reasonable time frame, but will be dependent on data and evolving assessment of risk. Okay, so that's the hint that it's not going to be a point where this is not the point where the RBA stops any further rate increases. It is really there to pause for now, for this month, just to look at the cumulative effect of previous rate hikes. Then they're going to see maybe if data still shows that inflation is still too high, then we might continue with another rate hike. So you can see that it's last month in July, 4.1. Again, now in August, staying at 4.1. Question now is September, right? Are they going to stay at 4.1? Hey PM, how are you doing? So with that, sorry. Okay, with that, today we do have, right now coming up, we do have a bunch of PMI numbers. I'm not super concerned about this. I think maybe we might see, no, we won't. If I was going to say we might see some fluctuations on the manufacturing PMI for the Eurozone, but if it does stay at that 42.7, it is slowing down. So we might see a continuation on the euro dollar to the downside, show some weakness. The UK with their manufacturing PMI as well, likely to stay at 45. Also showing some weakness or slowdown, continuation in the contraction. So maybe some downside on the pound dollar. But we do have the Bank of England with the interest rate decision coming up on the horizon. Then at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the manufacturing PMI for the US. 46 to 46.9 might show an uptick in terms of the dollar, because we're showing that manufacturing PMI not contracting as much as before, not heading to the expansionary phase at 46.9, but slowing down in terms of contraction. So that might give some upside to the dollar. JOLTS 99.82, 9.61. I think that at this point, it's going to be indicative, right? I wouldn't be too concerned about this data release. I think it's going to be indicative for what we have, the non-farm payrolls, later this week on Friday. So overall, what I'm looking at is that we do have a whole bunch of PMI numbers to be released. Not super concerned. We could be looking at short-term trending scenarios moving forward in terms of dollar strength, possibly dollar strength right across the board. Okay, so with that, then looking at the dollar. Today is the 1st of August. And it looks like the charts are showing me good prices. So I don't think we have to switch around charts too much today. Right? That away for now. Yesterday, we were looking at this, bouncing off the support, retesting that 61.8 small retracement, which it did before breaking up. Important thing right now is this next about 45 minutes, right? Because I'll be looking for the dollar index to break above this 61.8 pip retracement level, looking for that candle to close above before we could indicate that it's a break of that 102 level. Looking at this, it's still within the Bollinger, so it still looks okay. I would say that because of that, take this away. right? I think that we could see a continuation to the upside. Then you take away 50, that's there. I'll put this as a support breaking above 61.8. That's fair. This right about there. Yeah, I'm looking at this whole thing here as a support area. So now, what to think for the dollar index? Breaks above or closes above 102, could get towards that previous swing level there at 102.55. Relatively straightforward, but we will have to wait for it to break, right? So if it closes above 102, could trade towards 102.55. That's why I think that we might see a continuation of strength on the dollar index. Okay. Retracing a little bit right now, so don't rush into it. Don't rush into any trades at this point. We are looking for confirmation of that trend. Good question there, Clement. What's PMI? PMI is a Purchasing Managers Index. Right? PMI is the Purchasing Managers Index, where it indicates it's a survey, right, on managers in the manufacturing industry. There's a whole series of questions that they send out to purchasing managers about employment, inventory, expected sales, new sales, old sales. It's a bit of a projection in terms of economic activity. If it's below 50, then it's considered to be in the contractionary phase. Not good news. If it's above 50, then it will be considered in the expansionary phase, which would be good news. Okay, so what we're looking at, there are manufacturing PMIs, there are services PMIs, and in some economies, they do release data on construction PMIs as well. So it is going to be, typically, it does have a good impact in terms of price volatility. But right now, with no big change expected in terms of the data, that's one reason why I'm not super concerned about the PMI for now. PMI was a big focus during the 2008 period. It was during the 2008 period, during the GFC, where we saw a lot of economies, or a lot of businesses close, a lot of economies suffer overall during the global financial crisis. So the PMI came in with a lot of impact, right, indicating during a forward projection of overall economic activity. 2008, 2012 as well, and also, if I'm not wrong, about 2018, a little bit less, but more on 8 and 12, where we saw the PMI really having a big impact in terms of price volatility. Okay, good question there. I don't think the dollar index is able to break 103. 103 is a little bit still a while away. I would say 103 is still a while away. Let's see what happens when it gets to 102.55. I think that what could happen is that it will get up to 102.55, retrace before testing 103, then it's a whole different ball game again. But I wouldn't project that too much. I think this is a good strong level that we want to see what happens at 102.55. Okay. Then, that away for now. Looking at the Kiwi dollar. Right, Kiwi dollar, we were looking for this to come up, test that trend line, test that 61.8 level, and turn back down. We were saying that we're looking to sell 6195, stop loss 25, take profit 17195. So I had it drawn on another chart because yesterday we were having some issues with the price. Remember that? So 6195 was about there. Right, we're looking, it's a bit odd, but yeah, we're looking at that turning down. We're looking for that 70 pip to the downside. Then that was a 25 pip stop loss. So if you did get into that trade, you would be well in the money right now. I do think that expecting the dollar to strengthen, this is going to run to the downside. If you are in the trade, I would move stop loss to break even, let it run. Okay, if not, then I would say taking this away. That was our previous low. Okay. Oh, that worked out well, so let's take that away for now. Looking at this, we're approaching that 50% level. So I think we might hesitate there a little bit before dropping back down. What I would say here is that looking at this, we have a bit of a resistance there. So remember, one thing I was watching a lot of different videos overnight about a lot of other people sharing, their trade ideas, their trade setups. One thing I picked up on was that you really want to make sure that your support and resistance levels are well spaced, right? If you end up having in the scenario that a support level is, for example, here, and then your next support level is here, you only have a small distance between the two, then it's really not a support and the next support. This whole area would be considered as a support level. Okay, so make sure you do have good space between your support levels and your support resistance levels. So I would actually update this. Hey Jordan, no worries. I'm actually on H1 time frame. On H1 time frame. Okay, so looking at the Kiwi dollar, I'm identifying this point here from the 6th of July and then all the way back to the 28th of July here where there's a swing low. So I'll actually consider this whole thing as my support. You're welcome there, Jonathan. Jordan? I said Jordan. As my support level. Okay, so I will be looking at 50% continuation down. If it breaks below 50, we could trade it down. Let's see if it's gonna. I don't like it so much because the stop loss is not going to be at a good level, with your take profit not huge as well. So I would say that, as Kwabi is asking, where would be a possible entry? You would not be looking to get into this on H1 time frame. That's what I'll tell you, right? Because there are so many weak levels in between, right? This might be something that you want to look at maybe on the M15. If it breaks below, then you could be looking at selling down, say 6170, stop loss 20 pips, take profit almost 40 pips to the downside. Shorter term time frame. This is on M15, shorter term time frame, but that's only if you're super comfortable doing a smaller time frame. What I would suggest for most of you will be to wait it out, not get into a trade on the Kiwi dollar, see what happens as it trades down to the support of 6130. Right, so we're looking for reaction along 6130. It is right in the middle. That's why I'm not super keen on jumping to a trade here. Forex Stars asks, I took US 500 sell, holding it for long with small lot. I'll get to that shortly. Okay, so Kiwi dollar, I would say trending down, looking for reaction along 0.6130 support. Okay, there we go. So no trade, but I'm looking for that. You could trade it down, scalp it down, intraday trade towards the downside, but I would say that I'll be more comfortable looking for a reaction along that support level. Then with that said, looking at the Aussie, all right, Aussie, we were thinking that it might bounce up because of the cash rate. It did not. In fact, it hit that resistance level of 6740 before reversing back down. Very similar to the Kiwi. It is right in the middle again. I do think that it's going to continue to the downside. However, as a setup, it might not be something that you could do on the medium term time frame. This would be something you might want to scalp it down. Even that, it's going to be a bit dangerous because there's only a 30 pip before we get to an equal low, right? A 30 pip move before we get to an equal low of about 66 to 6630, right? And you can see that at an equal low there to that for you guys, right? The last time it came down to this point, equal low, it bounced back up. So now at this point, I wouldn't. It was not worth the risk, like what Olivia is saying. I would say that again could trade down, looking for it to trade down towards a 6 support level, and if it breaks below that support area, so I would say even 6580, anticipating that dollar strength, and also because the RBA held rates, if it breaks below 6580, why 6580? It's really because of that whole thing as a support area. Right? I caught that swing low there as well. So I'm looking at this whole thing as a support area. A break, I would have a 25 pip at the most stop loss, and then a take profit could go down to 100 pips to the downside. That's the previous swing low level. Okay, so there we have it. That's the Aussie. Really, I'll take that away for now. Not rushing into it now, looking for a trade, looking for it to break the support of 0.66, trade down to 6470. So sell down 6580, stop loss 25, take profit 100. Sell 0.6580, stop loss 25, take profit 100. There we go. PM is asking, pound yen, is it forming a double top on H1 time frame? We'll get to that. Lydia is asking about the pound yen and the euro yen as well, so we'll get to that shortly. Right, so Aussie, why we get to that shortly is because I need to know what's happening on the yen first off. Right, so this was the trade I was sharing on Discord. I got in at 142.35, 8 a.m. in the morning here, Singapore GMT +8. It went up. Then once it had that spike up, we moved that to break even. Why I decided to get out of the trade was really because it came down, well, it came down, bounced back up, and then it showed some hesitation for the upside, right? And as it showed a hesitation for the upside, I closed out the trade. Updated you guys in Discord. Very happy I closed out the trade because right now it is trading back down again. Right, it is trading back down again. Currently 142.60. It looks like so 143 is the swing high on the 10th of July. Anticipating dollar strength to continue. Just check something. Take these ones away for now. Big consolidation there. That's now my support. Support now. She's still on that trade. Jason O'Connor says still on that trade. With lockout, it becomes lower. Maybe I don't think it's going to drop a lot lower. All right, I'm looking at this now. I'm thinking that we might see it find some support. No. Just trying to think how far is it going to, how far could it retrace by? I don't think it's going to come back down to, hey Robbie, how are you doing? I don't think it's going to come back down to 142. Right? $23.6 is there. What I actually think, because, right, so not usually what I would anticipate is that the US yen could sit, no, I think that usually I would say that the US yen would come down, bounce off this level, break to the upside. Okay. However, looking at that dollar strength possibly pushing to the upside, I think that we could see the US yen fluctuate between 142.80 and 142.50. Draw a circle. We could see it consolidate along this range. Right? But what I'll be looking for is a breakout to the upside above 143 with the anticipation that the next resistance is at 145. So sit there, wait it out, be super patient. Dollar strength expected. I'll be looking for it to break 143, say 143.20. Stop loss 20-30 pips. Take profit. I don't think it's going to get to 170, but you could set it at 170 and then decide at any point to close out. I would say that a realistic level could be along this point. Along first one along here. And then if it breaks that, the next one along here. So there are two levels to consider. 1:1, 1:to almost 4, and then a 1:to almost 6 to the upside. Okay, so I think consolidate, breakout to the upside, expecting the dollar strength to come back into play. Hey Colbert, never too late, all good. Yep, I would say break that resistance, then we could be looking to get in. So 143.20, stop loss 30 pips, take profit 170, but with many hesitation levels. Buy 143.20, stop loss 30, take profit 170. There are many hesitation levels. Okay, I like that. If it does retrace, I'll still be looking for that break. I wouldn't be looking to sell the US yen to the downside. Look at the headline there in the corner. US yen remains under pressure as, or yen remains under pressure as US yen looks for upside breakout. Okay, so we're still looking for that push. Then looking at the pound dollar, yesterday we were thinking that pound dollar with a bull flag 1.2890 for that push to the upside. So this was not what we were looking at yesterday. Different chart. Bull flag was what we saw here. That, then that, well, I think more like that, then that, something like that. Okay, we're looking for that bull flag. We're looking for that breakout to the upside. That did not happen. We are seeing it test and reject that 50% level, trading back down. This was Monday, right? So trading back down. Again, remember that we are looking at the UK manufacturing PMI number staying at 45, and that dollar strength expected. That away. And I like to clean up my charts. I like it a little bit neater. 50% is holding, so we have it there. Okay. What I'm looking at here is a continuation. It's pound dollar right now, possibly not forming a good trend bias. Okay, why I say that is because you can see that at this point, right, at this area here, as choppy as bouncing around, no big directional push, before it had a spike up and then a quick retrace. Again, we are in a similar area where it's not having any clear directional bias at this point. What I would be looking for then in this case would be whether the pound, I'll be looking for that, but I don't think it's going to happen, is whether the pound dollar could bounce off and trade back down again. Right? Could bounce off and trade back down. Let me just test something here. If we were looking to sell down 1.2810, stop loss 30 pips, take profit, not worth it. Right? So if it does break out of this consolidation and you look to sell it down 1.2810, your stop loss 30 pips, your take profit 40 to 50 pips. It could happen, but it's not a great setup. Right? Not a great setup. What I would prefer is whether it could break to the upside and do that. Test, come back down. At least we have a 30 to 100 pips to the downside. But why would the pound dollar shoot up for turning back down? Right? Why would the pound dollar shoot up before turning back down? No big reason why that should happen. So you have two options. Two options here. First of which is it breaks out the consolidation to the upside. Don't look to buy. Look for a test and a rejection before turning back down. So we could be looking to sell 1.2860. Right, 1.2860, 30 pip stop loss, 90 pip take profit towards the previous swing low. Or if it breaks down from this consolidation, this point, then 1.2810 stop loss again, about 30 pips, take profit, about 40 pips, 45 pips to the downside. Okay, so looks mixed to me. Stay on the sell side. Definitely stay on the sell side, but it's only what's going to happen before we get to the sell side. So bull flag did not happen, and that's why I don't like chart patterns that much, right? Pound dollar, we're looking breakout of consolidation. Look to sell. It's either on the rejection sell, then we'll sell on the 1.2860, 30 pip to 90 pips. 1.2860, stop loss 30, take profit 90. Or if it just continues, then we'll look to sell at 1.2810, stop loss 30, take profit 45. What a big move there. Okay. Make sense so far? Put it into the chat. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Put it into the chat if it makes sense, if it's all good. Well, I'll get some water. Thank you, BL. So with that, after looking at the US yen consolidating, possibly pushing to the upside, looking at a pound dollar, might push up before turning back down. Then looking at the pound yen, is there a double top, a weak double top there? We had that working out quite nicely. Let's take these squiggly lines away for now. Okay, take that away. Forming a bit of a support. There's a support here. So anticipating that the US yen is going to push up, right? Anticipating the US yen consolidate before pushing up. Pound dollar consolidating, but still overall to the downside. I don't think it's because of a double top that we might see the pound yen drop. And in fact, because of that big push up, what I would instead be looking for is if the pound yen does retrace, I'll be looking for buying opportunity to the upside. In this case, it looks something like 182.75. Take profit will be about 100 pips. Stop loss will be tied at about 40 pips. Okay. Bobby's a little bit confused. So just to repeat, I would say that US yen consolidating, but we're looking at no downside. We're looking for this to push up. Pound dollar looking like it's going to push down. So pound dollar coming down should drag the pound yen down, should drag it down, but overall US yen pushing up. So I'm looking for this to come down slightly because of the pound dollar. But if the US yen does have a good push to the upside, then we're going to see this push up. Okay, hope that clarifies it a little bit more for you, Kwabi, and answering your question there, PM, on the double top, and also for Lydia on the pound yen. Then looking at the euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar, very important one. We were looking at this to sell down 1.094025 to 90. 1.0940, very similar level that we spoke about before. 25 to 90, that was the move downwards. Also highlighting this out to you guys in the group that not that one. We were seeing, so this is where, if you're asking about the double top, this is where I would say the double top came in, right? So fib levels, short-term fib level, good double top here is that at the 50% retracement level, right? And then it broke that neckline, and then we're looking at this trading, the euro dollar trading to the downside. So now that it's pushing lower, I would still hold this view. It's too late if you didn't get into it at the double top level, right? This was a possible trade you could have looked at. Stop loss 20 maybe. Take profit would be about 40 to 50 pips to the downside. Too late to get into that right now. It's breaking that support. It looks like it's going to break the support. What I'll be looking for here will be a continuation to the downside. Right, a continuation to the downside. Still going to be looking for 1.0940. 25 pip stop loss. 100 pip take profit down towards the next support level. Maybe not so much. Let's go a little bit more conservative and take it down to 6 to 70 pips downwards. Okay. It has been a while, Rivdi. Good to see you. What do you think of the BOJ adjusting its yield to YCC to 1%? Does it mean we potentially looking for further yen weakness? It's a little bit surprising. Adjusting the YCC typically should see it. We should have seen a little bit more strength before that weakness, but yeah, it does look like we are looking at some weakness or continual weakness on the yen pairs. We are looking at continual weakness on the yen pairs. Adding on to that is that while the yield curve change or is adjusted to 1%, it should actually it should see that weakness, but we're not seeing that big immediate impact, right? Typically, we would see a big spike. So I'm a little bit concerned. Looks like it might be running out of steam, so I'll be very careful with over expecting that weakness on the yen pairs. All right, good question there. I hope I answered your question there, Rivdi. Good to see you again. And do make sure you join the God channel. And hey, click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Right, so 1.0940, stop loss 25, take profit 70. On the euro dollar, 1.0940, take profit 70. There we go. I'll be happy with that. A little bit of waiting to do. It does need to break that support, but I would say look for it to break that equal low before we're going to see that push to the downside. Okay, in fact, I would change and say that that's just an interim level and that's a support because of those points. So I'll be looking for it to break that support to the downside. Then, so after the euro dollar, looking at the euro yen, that away, that trend line doesn't work, that away as well. Well, you can see that it's very clearly we are expecting the euro dollar to push to the downside. If we do see that relatively big push downwards, then I would say euro yen has a key level here, breaking down, bit of a double top trend line, all that confluence. Push that right across, that makes sense. I might not have this here. Okay, so what I'll be looking for in this case would be Nope, doesn't work. Look for it to break past this point. Right, so double top level, break past the bottom of 156.40, 38, 40. Look for it to break before we're going to sell it. We could sell it down. So about 156.25. Stop loss quite wide at 60 pips. Take profit about 100 to 120 to the downside on the euro yen. Right, a bit of a counter trend move here. Ultimately expecting the euro dollar to drag the euro yen lower. Okay. Hope I answered your question there, Lydia, on the euro yen. Then next up, the US Swiss franc. Right, buy 0.8715, stop loss 25, take profit 65, 8715. Looking at that continuation to the upside. So this, right, it did push up a little bit, but it did come down, retrace, hit that low before bouncing back up. Love that how that worked. Someone, I think Corey, asked about this, whether I got into the trade. I do identify trades. This is the only one that I identify setups on the US Swiss franc, but I don't get in because it's just not something I have. I monitor closely. Not enough real estate space on my screen to look at all the charts. I would say that. Oops. Okay. 50% level broken above 61.8. It is right at that 61.8 level from that big spike down. Okay, so looking at this, expecting dollar to continue pushing up. 1.8 is there from that big void. I forgot what's the term in terms of this. I know there's a smart money concept term on this, but I forgot what's that called. So we have it there, 61.8, broke above 50. Continuation to the upside, possibly expected. 0.87440 right now. 8750. Stop, take profit 40, 35, 40. Stop loss very tight, no more than 20 pips. Looking for that continuation to the upside. Okay. I don't like this setup. Not a lot of space there, just because we have that point there. So 8750, stop loss 20, take profit 35. Not a lot of margin, not a lot of space to play with. 8750, stop loss 20, take profit 35. Yeah, that's going to push up. Could it break this level? If it break, I think it's going to take a little bit more to break this level. And we do have other points later on to consider at 88338 or 850. Okay, so I will look for it to trade up. If it comes close to the resistance with good strength, might continue up, but that will be my first target level. Then onto the US CAD. Right, US CAD, we were looking buy 1.3250, stop loss 25, take profit 50. 1.3250 has not triggered. Expected only a small drop before spiking back up. It came all the way down, tested that trend line, or broke and retraced back from that trend line, pushing back up, I would maintain that view, right? So it's moved more, but I will maintain that view, maybe even adjust it a little bit and say 1.3255. Stop loss, I want it below my support at 30 pips. And my take profit would be about 45. That's the previous swing high there. Okay. And that trend lines to maintain. Yep, so I want it to break above this point before we'll get into a trade. So 1.3255, stop loss 30, 20, 25, take profit 45. 1.3255, stop loss 25, take profit 45. All good, all good. Remember, help me out. Click that. Oh, look at that. Okay, so that's the dollar index closing out above that 61.8 retracement level. Right now at 1.102.12, almost 102.13. Looking still for that continuation to the upside. US CAD's done. Looking at gold. Trading back down. So it did not drop. So close below 153 could trade down to 191. No, 1953 could trade down to 1944. Did not do that. All right, the dollar strength led to a big push. This was a bit odd, right? Dollar strength should not lead to a big push on the gold, right? It should be inverse. Dollar strength, big push to the upside. Gold should be dropping down. So I was very cautious there. We saw the big spike up. Right, central bank demand for gold wanes as interest rate starts to peak. So even that's another news, and that's 2 hours ago, indicating that we should not be looking at a big push to the upside on gold. Now that it's hit that almost that 1973 level and turned back down, coming close to the interim support at about 1953. I think same view again. Break 1953, trade down towards 1944. So I'll maintain that view for gold. Okay. All good, makes sense. Then for Forex Star. Hey guys, again, a lot of you watching. I appreciate all of you jumping onto the call, spending time with me. Love the time. Do help me out. Click that like, subscribe button on YouTube. Click that little rocket ship button on TradingView. And if you are on trading.live, click that little clappy button. Let's see if we get more people onto the call. And if you haven't already, do make sure you jump onto the Discord channel. Robbie scalped it to 1944. Just be careful. I think it will get there, especially if the dollar does continue pushing up. But just be super careful. It does need to break 1953 first. Okay, then onto the US 500. The Forex Stars was asking, was looking to sell this. Why is it not updating? Why is it still in June? On my feed. Okay, that's better. That's odd. Let me add. I don't know why that one's gone. Okay. US 500 sell. I'm holding on for long with small lot. Any ideas? Dollar strength is going to lead to some downward momentum on the index. I think that I'm looking at some levels here that's holding prices down. Okay, just let me get an overall view. We see that pushing just from S1 level. There we go. I think that in the longer term trend line, that's going to support the upward push. In the shorter term trend line, considering the bodies, it's broken the trend line. So I do think that we might, especially with the dollar strength continuing, likely to see price go down. Currently at 45.83, could see it trade down towards 45.66. However, I think you see more momentum being gained. Yeah, especially if it breaks down from 45. I think 45.78 and 45.73 will be a bit of a pause on the momentum. So you see this, could see this drop down towards this support area. Might pause and bounce from here. If it doesn't, could trade down to that trend line before bouncing back up again. Overall, still big move to the upside, but just, yeah, I don't think it's going to be massive downside. We're going to see this come down and maybe bounce back up. All right. The XDC will kill Ethereum. XDC is the real Ethereum. I have no idea what's X. Okay. So I hope I answered your question there, Forex Stars, on the US 500. PM says the Kiwi dollar is moving nicely. It is moving very nicely. We are looking at it pushing to the downside. Robbie likes scalping. You could look to scalp this down. Just be super careful. Think it would be outside Bollinger, so it's going to retrace a little bit, consolidate or retrace a little bit before pushing down. All right. Recap: Aussie dollar pushing lower nicely, forming up. That's still US yen still consolidating. Pound dollar consolidating, but I think that is going to push, more likely to push to the downside rather than bounce back up. So we'll watch out for that. Euro dollar, big continuation, likely continuation to the downside. I'm very keen on this. I'm super keen on the US yen and the euro dollar. US Swiss franc, I'll be lying if I tell you that I'm keen on this, but the setup is there. US CAD, maybe later into the day. I don't think it's going to happen now, but later into the day, we're looking for this to push up. Pound yen, still holding there, not doing too much because the pound is consolidating. The US yen is also consolidating, looking for it to trade down slightly before pushing back up. Euro yen, hey, euro dollar dropping, looking for that to break. Could look for that downside push. Not to worry. Thank you, PM. Looking at, because we had a comment about an Ethereum killer, looking at Ethereum, a big spike. I don't know whether this big drop was because it got killed. Plunges as curve concerns threaten major market crash. All right. Bitcoin doing the same thing. German finance regulator investigates operators of Bitcoin bank breaker. So something to watch out. I do want to get more tuned into the cryptocurrencies. So eventually I will be sharing with you a lot more about the cryptocurrencies as well. Okay. So in the meantime, what I'll do for today is I will turn off my mic. I'll turn off my camera. We will leave the stream running. We want to see how how especially the Aussie and the, well, how the US yen and the euro dollar plays out. It is retracing a little bit, but we'll leave that running. If you have any questions, put it into the chat. I'm still monitoring. If not, make sure you join the Discord channel as well. And if you're going to tune out for now, I'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. GMT plus 8, as usual. So take care now. Live stream still keep going running.